Hello and welcome, my name is Adam McNamara. I'm just going to be talking you through how the SciApp Builder works. You'll be visiting this website because we're approaching you for some venture capital, so you've probably seen this image before, and this kind of looks at how SciApp works. SciApp allows any researcher to capture data from any group of participants that they'd like, or not for any real particular reason. The researcher will make the application tool, the experiment that they want to use to capture the data on the web application. This will sit on the database. They just have to give an ID to the user here, and the user can download our single app, SciApp, and put in the ID to the front page, splash page of the app, and the experiment will run at whatever time or place that the researchers have defined. I'm just going to take you through how that works very briefly. I'm not going to do a full experiment, but just to give you an idea of how easy it is to make these kind of experiments. I'm going to call this first experiment Venture. Now, if you've used SurveyMonkey or other kind of provider for making online kind of questionnaires, then you'll know that it's quite easy to select things like checkbox frames, radio box frames, drop-down menus, sliders that allow you to kind of determine a value between two, along kind of analog scale. We've got all those in SciApp, just as you'd expect to get general demographics. SciApp works on the idea of making kind of frames which you put together to make an experiment. So we're going to do that at the moment. We've got our own kind of frame types as well as the normal kind of questionnaires. We've got normal frames, which allows you to say, for instance, that you want to show an image for a particular number of milliseconds, or text for a particular number of milliseconds. We have another kind of frame which would also allow me to kind of present text or images and then ask you to make a choice between two of them, and then the next frame will be dependent on what happens, will be dependent on the choice that you make. We have other frames, for instance, like touch frames. So if you touch the frame, wait for a certain number of touches, or we can define it so that you can have a particular quadrant or target area of the mobile phone screen has to be touched for it to move on to the next frame, that kind of thing. We also have other frames in the process, like camera frames for taking pictures and that kind of thing, and audio options. So I'm just going to make a very simple thing here. I'll start off just by asking you what's a very normal question. So let's just say, are you male or female? Male or female? Keep my typing going, okay, and I just pop down the possible options here. You can either be female, yes, I want that as an option, or are you male is another possible option for that question. So the basic demographic. So just it's very easy to pop those bits of information in. Now I'm going to ask you a question. I want, in this experiment, I want to ask my participant a question. So the question is, are you aware that just seeing a pair of eyes is more likely to make you answer the question honestly. Okay, so this is going to be my question. And on this frame, which is asking questions, I have two buttons, and I need to label those buttons. So I'm going to say the one label is going to be yes, and the other label is going to be no. Okay, and I have to kind of tell it what to do if the person presses button yes. So I'm going to say, well, if they press button yes, go to frame 3. If they press no, go to frame 4. Okay, now I need to make those kind of responses. I haven't put them in here. We've got frame 1 and 2, so I'm going to make a couple of drag that over and drop that on there, and that's frame 3 and frame 4. I have clone and delete. I can move things around a lot easily. That we don't really need that today, and we're doing a couple of very simple things. So frame text. I don't have to put any text in here. So this is frame 3. You'll see this when you run the scan at the top of the image. And what I do want to do is I want to show an image which in response to that person that's saying yes. Okay, so I click that, and how long am I going to show this image for? It's going to be an image of a young lady's face and the answer, which I've already edited, and I'm going to show it for 3,000 milliseconds. And then finally I can say this is frame 4. I don't have it. Hi to you, thanks for looking. Okay, this is the text that's going to be at the top. I've already got an image which I've pre-prepared. I'm going to show this one. I could 3,333 milliseconds. I can pick whatever amount of time I want to show the image for. Finally, I'm going to ask you a question using our slide bar slide bar here that I'm interested in, and that is how likely are you to fund this project? Okay, so I'm going to ask you that question now. I'm hopefully going to get a vaguely honest response. So on the right label, because I'm going to label the bar, I can say extremely likely. You're extremely likely, so that's the extreme right side of the bar. That's the label I'm going to put on that. And on the left side of the bar, I don't want to say extremely unlikely, so we'll just start with fairly likely. Yeah. So the minimum you can do is fairly likely. I'm going to give you a scale of 1 to 100 to do this on, and I'm going to start you off not at 50. I'm going to get you closer to the extremely likely to start off with. Okay, so that's done. Okay, so these are just like 5 frames. I could build very complex experiments out of these kind of frames. Give you animations with lots of because I can be very specific about the amount of time things are watched with, for example. So when you do these, it can be a lot more complicated. Then it's often a lot easier to build them into trials, so that you have a set of frames all in one go, and you might repeat those many times. So it's kind of important to create what we call the actual trial. So here I've got one trial. It's going to start off with the demographic image question, and it's going to ask you the question about whether you are aware of this effective behavior, seeing eyes, and then I'm finally going to ask you about this. Okay, I don't need to pop these 2 frames in because they're coded already. Okay, so other things I can do, I can ask you where you are in the world at the moment, so I can set it for GPS. Your phone will ask you if you're okay with me giving me that information. And really importantly, I can get this experiment to call other ones at the same time, so I can get it to call a whole host of other experiments. So I can set them to happen every day for a week or 2 weeks and all sorts of things like that. But I'm not going to go into those kind of just now. So I press save. When I press save, I can see the script. A lot of scientists are a lot happier with writing scripts. You don't need to always use a GUI. You could just write the script. If you've got a long experiment with lots of options, that often becomes a lot easier. So you can download the script, see how it works. I selected that I needed 2 images to do this, so I need to browse and select those images, and I've pre-set those ones. So there's a picture of a nice young lady with the terms yes, it's true, for if they in it wrong, it is true for the other response. So I upload those 2 images, and then I commit. You'll see it pops up here that it's okay, experiment 807 is saved. So we're pretty much done. What I need to do is, now I'm the researcher, I've made an experiment for you guys, and what I need to do is get my users, which is venture capitalists who want to check this, to kind of download SciApp and put in the number 807. If you want to run a full experiment which shows all the different options that we've got so far, then just run 707. This is also actually an experiment we hope to get some data from, so we'd be very happy if you tried that one out. Okay, thank you very much for your help. We look forward to hearing from you. Okay, goodbye. Okay, so we've just made experiment 807 on the web browser. So now we're going to show you what it looks like if I put it up on the phone. It's not going to be the greatest quality, but this will be good fine here. First of all, so I have to find SciApp. So here's SciApp. I open SciApp. I just need to do experiment 807. So I pop that one, 807. There we go, and I download this. Connecting to internet. If you're ready, please press the button. I'm ready. I press the button. Are you male or female? I am male, so I select the male option. Are you aware that just seeing a pair of eyes is more likely? That's the question we put on, and yes, I am aware. And here's a nice young lady. She tells me that yes, it is true. And you can see I asked this question of how likely I was to fund this project, and it started at 90, just as I programmed. I'm going to push it right over there because obviously I would fund it, and then the data goes straight back to our servers, and I can pick them up on the servers. Okay. Thank you very much. Hope to speak to you soon.